There's been a lot of talk about Pecco Bagnaia in 2025. When you look at the numbers, he has actually had his best start to the season in the MotoGP sprint era since 2023, and you can't really fault his consistency. He hasn't crashed in a Grand Prix yet or a sprint race, but he's still the third Ducati on the standings. When you look at it, yes, of course, his teammate is Marc Marquez, and do I need to explain of how special of a talent Marc Marquez is? No, but maybe the surprising factor that Alex Marquez is the Ducati that is leading the way in the World Championship. And let's be honest, this season has been the second fastest rider when Mark has not crashed. And yeah, that's the crux of this video I want to look at. Why has Pecco Bagnaia struggled so much in 2025 with the GP 25.4, point 5, point 9, whatever you want to call that GP25 Ducati that they're riding this year? It is different. It is, of course, the factory bike. It's the latest spec. And Banyaia's season in 24 was arguably one of the best seasons that we've ever seen. And he didn't win the world title. Now, that was, of course, due to mistakes, DNFs, coming together crisis. He didn't do it. And he won 11 Grand Prix, which is crazy to say. And he didn't win the world title. I think he won 18 races in total when you look at his sprint and Grand Prix combined, which is ludicrous that he didn't win the world title. But of course, he wasn't consistently staying on the bike sometimes, and that is the key of the game. This year, he's eradicated those mistakes, but it's not like he's showing the same flashes of speed that we've seen in 24. Yeah, we're 5 rounds in. His worst result, I believe, is 8th, and that was in the Qatar sprint. And he's got this issue. There's a few. The sprint fuel tank is the one that he brings up, and he says that he isn't comfortable. It's been like this since the start of the sprint era, which I kind of get it that he talks about this feeling, but when you look at the sprint numbers, I'll put them on screen here. He's won like pretty much second most sprints in MotoGP since they were introduced, and I think that, yeah, sometimes maybe there is an issue, but I think majority of the time this sprint issue, that, let's be honest, no other Ducati rider has mentioned in the time, saying it's been an issue over the 2-3 years span. Is it in Bagnaia's head, this tank issue? Is it just on a Saturday he's not fully ready to compete like he is in a Grand Prix? Because in the Grand Prix situations, however, he has been mega. He's been fantastic over the years. That's where he shows his true speed on a Sunday. But even this year, it's been odd. In Thailand, he was comfortably third best. Alex Marquez and Marc Marquez were better. Same again in Argentina. He didn't look comfortable. He's even beaten by Frankie Morbidelli in the Grand Prix. And then we get to America where, yes, he won the Grand Prix. To his credit, a circuit he had struggled around in Coda. He managed to hold off Alex Marquez and take the victory quite comfortably after Marc's DNF. But still, things weren't fully dialed in with that Ducati that he was riding. Talk was when we got to Qatar, he would start his season essentially. But it didn't look like that at all. Marc Marquez was outstanding. He completely dominated Bagnaia that weekend when I think about the Saturday and the Sunday in the races and qualifying. Then we get to Zaref, where the circuit where he had won 3 Grand Prix in a row last weekend, and he finishes third in both races, and he gets beaten by Alex Marquez, who wins on Sunday, of course, and Fabio Quartararo holds him off on the Yamaha. Bagnaia wasn't happy. Clearly, he said that there was a lot of work to do with the Ducati and how he wanted to get the feeling back that he had with the 24. He remarked a few things in the race, the after race press conference, with a few telling factors. He talked about, Mark is able to ride around the issues of the new bike, essentially. He's able to ride it in any condition as such. He said he's not ready to do that yet because he has a different feeling. And saying that, obviously Marc Marquez's talent is for everyone to see how good it is. But when you're saying that about your teammate who's came into factory setup. He's only 5 rounds in. He's ahead of you in the championship by 19 points. He's had two crashes in Grand Prix. One of them resulted in a DNF, and the other being a 12th place finish after coming back on and rejoining and finishing there. Is that worrying for Bagnaia? I think it actually is, because he should be the one. I think he should be the one behind Alex Marquez, and he should be the one that's willing to make the moves and take the risk there. Yes, it's early in the season still, but confidence wise, you want to be picking up the pieces, don't you? He picked up the pieces in Coda, but it's surprising when we get to Jerez, a circuit, like I said, he has been so good at. He wasn't able to even manage to beat the Yamaha of Fabio Quartararo, which was not concerning. I think Quartararo rode out of his skin, but the gap between Alex and Pecco being so big that it was in the Grand Prix, it raises questions about how Bagnaia is with his setup. And I think he talked about he could see Alex doing things that he was able to do last year on the 24 when he seen him at Jerez. The bike is different, but it's essentially made up of 24 parts with 25 parts, and it's all mixed together. The engine, they've said, is better. There's more potential out of it there. Straight line braking, it's so much better apparently as well. It's just this front end feeling that Bagnaia seemingly can't work out yet. And yeah, can he fix it? Of course he can fix it. They had a test on Monday at Jerez, obviously after the Grand Prix, and it was mixed sort of signals from Bagnaia saying that, yeah, we tested a lot of things, at a big list, but, I think we found a few things. We'll see that at Le Mans now, a circuit that in his MotoGP career, the results are okay. They're not special. He's had a few podiums. He's crashed out of a couple of Grand Prix. He's been in a few incidents there. Are we really waiting now for Mugello? Is this what it's going to be this year with Pecco? Waiting for the rounds that he should be good at, and say he doesn't perform where he should be? Is it the story of his season already that we've seen in the early part of this year? It could be, but like I say, his start to the year hasn't been electric, but he's still in there with a chance at the world title. And I do think that they will get stronger, the factory team, because just history suggests that the factory team can introduce new things. They constantly have the resource to be better than the satellite Ducatis. But this is the thing for me. Pecco Bagnaia shouldn't be thinking he's needing to beat Marc Marquez. He should be looking at Alex Marquez and thinking, you're my next target I have to get to before you even think of getting towards Marc. Because, yeah, the data and the numbers suggest that Alex has been super consistent, very likely to Jorge Martin. And fun fact, Alex Marquez at this point of the year, after 5 rounds, has scored 11 points more than Jorge Martin did at this point last season. So it shows you how consistent Alex has been. And yeah, Bagnaia has had 29 more points compared to his total last year, which shows that he's consistently been able to stay on the bike. But Marc Marquez has scored 50 points more and is 19 points clear of Pecco. So what does that tell you? Yeah, I think Pecco's got work to do. Mentally, I think that he just doesn't seem in a happier spot. The bike doesn't seem to where it needs to be for him. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the next few rounds. I think he can turn it around, but it needs to be soon, because you don't want to be giving momentum heading into the summer break towards your teammate anymore. And of course, Alex Marquez as well. Let me know your thoughts on Pecco's season so far. Love to read your comments. Subscribe if you're brand new here. Like the video, and we'll see you next week for the Crash MotoGP podcast, where we preview the French Grand Prix.